Thank you and welcome to another tutorial. In this example, I will go over how you can use a search string after you have built your search string using keywords to look for articles in PubMed. This example is from a project that I am currently working on. And the project is looking at the drug-resistant rate in Papua New Guinea, looking at a multi-drug resistant rate. So there have been many studies done on TB in Papua New Guinea, but in this review that I'm currently working on, I basically want to look at the prevalence rate and the determinants of drug-resistant TB, particularly multi-drug resistant TB. So I have built a search string. I have done some research. I have done some pilot testing, and this is the search string that I have built. So I will go over how you can apply your search string in PubMed. And if you're a beginner and just trying to find out how to do that in PubMed, I hope this video will be helpful for you. So firstly, I will go over the key terms or search words that I will be using. And starting from the top, we have tuberculosis, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, TB, and Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. That's starting from 1 to 4. Then 4 and 5, I have listed PNG or Papua New Guinea spelled fully as the keyword. Then 7 to 8 covers drug-resistant TB. And then from 11 to 22, I have tried to put in keywords that will cover multi-drug resistant TB and extensively drug-resistant TB. So these are the keywords that I researched, and I did some pilot testing, and I have built a search string that I want to use. And let me quickly go over how I plan to do that. So in step 1, I want to combine keywords 1 to 4 using Boolean operator OR. Again, if I go back to keywords 1 to 4, and these are the keywords number 1 to number 4. And I want to combine all of those using the Boolean operator OR. So these ones, tuberculosis or Mycobacterium tuberculosis or TB or Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. And in step 2, I want to combine keywords 5 and 6 using Boolean operator OR. Same, but this time I am combining PNG and Papua New Guinea with the Boolean operator OR. So as you can see, I am breaking up the search string into compartments so that later I will combine the different search results. Okay, step number 3, I want to combine keywords 7 to 10. Let's look at number 7 to number 10. And these are the ones that deal with drug-resistant tuberculosis. And finally, step number 4, I want to combine keywords number 11 to number 22. And this, as I have explained earlier on, deals with multi-drug resistant TB and extensively drug-resistant TB. Okay, so after I have done all of that, in step 5, I want to combine the results of step 1 and step 2 and step 3 using Boolean operator AND. And then repeat the same. That's step number 6. I want to combine the results of step number 1 and step number 2, and this time step number 4 using the Boolean operator AND. And then finally in step number 7, I want to screen all the results of step 5 and 6 using my eligibility criteria to include or exclude articles that I plan to use. So these are the steps that I plan to do, and then I will show you how I plan to do that on PubMed. So I will illustrate that using these keywords. So with that explanation, I will now go over to PubMed and show you how I will do that. Okay, we are now on the PubMed page. I encourage you to use the advanced feature. So go straight to advanced feature of PubMed. And if you're a beginner and just starting out to look for articles, doing a systematic literature review or a narrative literature review, like the traditional literature reviews, I recommend you start by looking for the keywords in the title and abstract. So that's what I will do in this example. So I click here in the field section and I look for title and abstract. So there we go. Now next step in this process is I will now enter the keywords in the search query box. So back to my strategy is I want to combine keywords number 1 to number 4 using Boolean operator OR. Okay. So keywords 1 to 4, I will now enter those into the PubMed search box. And these were tuberculosis, I add that to query box. Next is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. I do the same. And I am putting the quotation marks because I want the two words to occur together, and combining with the Boolean operator OR. Let's see the next keyword, which is the acronym TB, OR, and finally is each Mycobacterium tuberculosis complex. So I will do that. Right, so I have done that. I will now go over to the search box and click add to history, and I get 276,000 results. Okay, this is just the beginning. I will continue on with step number 2. Okay, step number 2 is combining keywords number 5 and 6 with a Boolean operator OR. And these are keywords number 5 and 6 is PNG or Papua New Guinea. So I will go over to the search box and do the same. PNG or Papua New Guinea. And once more, I add to history and I keep going. Okay, what's the next step? Next step is step number 3. I combine keywords number 7 to 10. Number 7 to 10 is looking at drug-resistant tuberculosis. So firstly is drug-resistant tuberculosis. So I do that. Drug-resistant tuberculosis. And note that I am using the quotation marks to have the exact words. I'll just delete that because I realized incorrect spelling. drug resistant tuberculosis. And I keep going. And next keyword is same, drug resistant tuberculosis, but this time with a hyphen. Drug resistant tuberculosis, and with a hyphen between drug and resistant. Next is drug resistant TB with the acronym TB. Drug resistant TB. And the same with drug resistant TB without the hyphen. Drug resistant TB. Apologies, in the first one I didn't add the hyphen, so this time I am using hyphen. I am only repeating the same, but I am putting hyphen between drug and resistant, and I put into the query box, and I add to history. Okay, so this gives us 6,000 plus results. Okay, we keep going. We are almost coming to the end of the search. And this time we are combining keywords number 11 to number 22. So let's do that, starting with multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. So to make it easy, I'm just going to cut and paste or copy and paste. And just put in the quotation marks there. I do the same for the next. Make sure that when you're cutting and pasting that the spellings are the same and you are not making any error in spelling. Making sure you check your set strings. Because a little error in the misplacing of a letter can make a difference. Multi-drug resistant tuberculosis with the hyphen. This is quite a long one, but the good thing is you want to be as wide as possible and include all the possible keywords or search terms so that later you can begin to filter. And because sometimes the spellings can be different with or without the hyphen, I am just doing all of the different way of spelling to include all the possible keywords or search terms that may appear in the articles. So that's why I have decided to be as exhaustive as much as possible. When you design your search string, it could be way more simpler, but this is the one that I have done for myself. If you have, if you're seeing any mistakes in this process, please do leave a comment. If you see that there's a better, more efficient way that I would have done this, do also leave a comment on how this can be done more efficiently. We'll just keep going and building this search string. We are almost there. Again, if you see something that can be done more efficiently, please do leave a comment and let us know how we can improve this set string and do it more efficiently. So now that I have done that, let me quickly go over and make sure checking everything is there. I will now add to history. Okay, there we have it. So going back to our set string. So we have done step 1, we have done step 2, we have done step 3, we have done step 4. Now we want to do step 5 and 6. Step 7 is the screening part, but we want to now do step 5 and step 6. So in step 5, we want to combine the results of step 1 and step 2 and step 3 using the Boolean operator AND. Okay, let's do that. Step 1, step 2, and step 3 using AND. Okay, step 1. So again, to make it easier for you, come to your results from step number 1, click on the 3 little dots there, and you see add to query, and it goes back here in the query box. Step 1. Next is step 2 and step 3. Step 2 with the Boolean operator AND, and step 3 with the Boolean operator AND. So essentially what we are doing is we want to combine all the results that has the keywords tuberculosis or anything to do with TB, and we want to combine that with all the results that has PNG or Papua New Guinea in the title and abstracts. Then we want to combine those with all the articles that has drug-resistant TB or tuberculosis. So we are combining all of those, but this time we are narrowing it down to PNG and only to do with drug-resistant tuberculosis. So that's what we are doing in this process, in these steps. So we have done that. I will now add to history. And we have 26 papers to screen. That's very good. That's a big cut down from thousands of papers. Okay, what's the next step? And the next step is step number 6. Again, we are repeating a similar kind of steps, step 1 and step 2, but this time we are combining with the results of step number 4 using the Boolean operator AND. Again, step number 1 and step number 2, results of step number 1 and step number 2, and combining with the results of step number 4. Okay, let's do that. Step number 1, add to query. Step number 2, add to query. Step number 1, step number 2, and with step number 4, which is to do with multi-drug and extremely drug-resistant TB. Step number 4. And okay, back again explaining. So in this process, we want to combine all the papers that has the keywords TB or tuberculosis, combining with all the papers that has PNG or Papua New Guinea in the title and abstract, and then we are combining with all the papers that has MDR-TB or XDR-TB. So essentially what we are doing is we are combining all the papers that has TB and XDR-TB or MDR-TB and using Papua New Guinea or PNG, and we are narrowing it down to a specific geographical location, which is PNG. Okay, so because we have done that already, now next step is I will add to history. And we have 35 papers. Looking at this, we have 26 papers from step number 5 and 35 papers from step number 6, which gives us a total of about 61 papers. So 61 papers is a good number of papers to screen. We have narrowed it down from thousands of papers to only 61 papers for us to screen. So this is what you can do. It's quite a lengthy process as I have done. Again, you can do the same. You can list all your search terms and keywords, then build a search string, and then you can go through a simple steps like this to look for your keywords. It's much easier. It's very simple. It's logical, and it will help you to just think it through how you can start the search process using PubMed. Once you are very familiar with the process, then you can go into more complex search strategy. So with that, I want to say thank you for watching. If this tutorial has helped you, please do like and share this video so that other students can also find the video.